Hello, my name is Camille Corbett, and I shall be doing a book review on The English Patient by Michael Ondaatje. Okay, so this book was a bit of a trial. I started this book, and then I was like, I'm not going to finish this because this is boring. And you know what? I decided that I was being a quitter, so I went back and I cracked open this book, and I persevered through this book. And it turned out not to be that bad. I give it a 3 out of 5. It's no All Quiet in the Western Front. It's a good war novel, and it's good at showing, the intricacies of war and how people are used as pawns and how it separates people and changes families and changes people. But it is well written as well. It just doesn't have that, grittiness, and it does have a certain grittiness. It just doesn't ring as beautifully and as scarily truthfully as All Quiet on the Western Front. And of course, a lot of people do say All Quiet on the Western Front is the greatest war novel ever, so I really shouldn't be comparing this. And this technically isn't a war novel, but rather an aftermath of the war novel, because the war is basically over at this point, and it's one of the world wars. I forgot whether it's the second or the first because I read this a few weeks ago, or about a month ago. However, it talks about, essentially there's a nurse, and her name's Hannah, and she's taking care of this guy who says that he's an injured English soldier that dropped down from a plane in the upper deserts of Africa, and he's just completely burnt, and she's taking care of him in this old Italian villa, and she's the only nurse left. It used to be a hospital, but all the nurses have left because the war is over, and they're doing other things now. They're going to places that need more assistance. And then there's this guy named Vigo, I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, and he's an old family friend of this nurse, and he's like, Sylvia, get your head out of the oven, you need to stop being crazy, and you need to stop taking care of this English patient, you need to do something more with your life. And then later on there's this guy named Kip, and he comes, and he's a guy that used to assemble bombs and traps and stuff that occurred, and it's called being a sapper, I believe. And all these people together, they make up the villa, and they just stay there, and it's weird to hear their stories. It's very interesting to find out all of their histories and how they all came to be in this villa, and it was all because of the war. And it's a very interesting book at seeing how all these people are together through circumstances that they probably otherwise would not be together. And I'm going to read you a bit of this, and it is beautiful. There are stories the man recites quietly into the room, which slip from level to level like a hawk. He wakes in the painted arbor that surrounds him with spilling flowers, arms of great trees. He remembers picnics, a woman who kissed parts of his body that are now burned with the color of aubergine. I've spent weeks in the desert, forgetting to look at the moon, he says, as a married man may spend days never looking into the face of his wife. They are not sins of omission, but sins of preoccupation. His eyes lock into the young woman's face. If she moves her head, his stare will travel alongside her into the wall. She leans forward. How were you burned? It is late afternoon. His hands play with a piece of sheet, the back of his fingers caressing it. I fell burning into the desert. They found my body and made me a boat of sticks and dragged me across the desert. We were in the sand sea, now and then crossing dry riverbeds. Nomads, you see, Bedouin. I flew down and the sand itself caught fire. They saw me stand up naked out of it, the leather helmet on my head in flames. They strapped me onto a cradle, a carcass boat, and feet thudded along as they ran with me. I'd broken the spareness of the desert. The Bedouin knew about fire, they knew about planes, and since 1939 had been falling out of the sky. Some of their tools and utensils were made of the metal of crashed planes and tanks. It was a time of war in heaven. See, the language is absolutely beautiful. It's a beautiful love story. It's very interesting how love can endure even And it shows like how war can mess with love, and how war can create love, and how war will like sprout love in such unusual places. And it's just, it shows how the unnaturalness of war can still not break away human nature. And that's a beautiful message for a book to have, and you should check it out. It's beautiful. See you guys later.